And we're live. All right, folks. Well, welcome to the Dice Tower live. It seems like it's been a while that we've done this, and it actually has been a while since we've done this. I think we didn't get one up last week, but that's because we were spending so much time with the Origins summer previews. So let me pause something here. And looks like we're going. So, okay. So if you're catching up on things, last week we did the Origins summer preview, which we work with Origins, and we talk to as many publishers as we can about as many games as we can. We had 79 games that we talked about, actually more than 79, because a couple of the videos were about very specific, were about groups of games. But let's see, we also, Sam did some reviews last week. He did Memoir 44, which got a lot of people interested in that. And in fact, I know that he's currently working on all the expansions for that. I don't know when we'll see them, but they'll come out over time, and you'll get to see the different expansions. All right. What are my thoughts on Carson City Big Box on Kickstarter? Well, whenever they make a big box game of something that I like a lot, and I really do like Carson City, I'm certainly interested. I don't know anything about it. I glanced at it, saw an expansion, thought, I wonder what that adds, and that's about it. Let's see here. Tom, you say you replace games when you find something that does the job better. I haven't seen Chaos Ball in your collection. Did you get rid of it? I did not. It is right here. I like Chaos Ball. Whoops, sorry. Here. So, there's that. Here. Someone asked if I've heard of Dawn Rise of the Oculites from Eel Griffin. Any thoughts on it? Well, I mean, it looks okay. The whole project seems really weird to me because it's not a licensed property, and it's not a property anyone knows about, and it seems like this really odd thing to make a big box game about. Other than that, I don't know anything about the gameplay itself. Someone is going to be reviewing it. I don't remember who it is, though. Tom, I know Sam and Z get on the hate train for Agricola about Caverna. Is it enough to not punch you in the throat? Sam and Z actually like Caverna. I don't know that they don't like it nearly as much as I do, but they do enjoy it. Have you seen Jurassic World? What did you think? Well, I thought I liked it, then I read the critics and they hated it, so I really enjoyed it. It was very reminiscent of the first Jurassic Park. Just good, solid, dino chomping fun. Probably less scary than the first one, but that's okay by me. Going on jury duty in a few weeks. Any suggestions for games that might engage that crowd? I don't know that I would take any board games with me. I think I would just bring my iPad and load it up with stuff. That's what I did when I went to jury duty. Let's see here. I'm not actually going to answer. I'm going to get a lot of these, I think. I'm not going to answer the best games of the year yet. We'll get to that at some point. I'm not going to answer best games to sell Origin because, as I told everyone at Origin, I didn't see a best game there. I saw a lot of very interesting games, and you can pick for yourself what they are from the Origin Summer Preview. Let's see here. Have you played the game Rumpelstiltskin? I have not. Top 10 list of underutilized IPs. Well, there's a lot of those, but there may be a reason they're underutilized. And sometimes IPs kind of shift. I mean, we haven't heard anything about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for a while, and now suddenly we're seeing a lot of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles stuff. WizKids picked it up, so they're making a big deal about it. Predator and Alien were picked up by Upper Deck. So I think sometimes when some of these things are picked up, then they go. I think it'd be more interesting to make a top 10 list of overutilized IP. Firefly. Anyhow. Let's see here. Wow, this new comment section is very easy to scroll through, but it can scroll too fast now. I know you've said your liking of longer games has changed over time. Do you think how much you like complexity of games has changed too? More willing to play shorter, complex games than longer ones? Well, complexity and game length often go hand in hand. I don't know many short, complex games. I mean, I can pick up games. I think I've gotten easier at picking up games, but recently we played a game, and I'll review it, not these coming weeks. I'll be reviewing it eventually, which I thought I would like. Then I found out, as soon as I played it, I said, wow, this game feels like it came out in the 80s. And lo and behold, it did. And you could feel it. It was long. It was unnecessarily complex. Streamlining is a big deal these days. And it's not so much that I've gotten... it's not that I like less complexity. It's that I demand it now. It's kind of like just technology has improved in board games. What do you recommend for bringing games from Gen Con in your luggage? How do you manage the storage? Well, if you live in the U.S., I almost I take a few games from Gen Con and I wrap clothes around them so that they don't get beat up. But I ship everything. Shipping is fast. It gets there. I ship it before Origins is even halfway through, usually. So that way, by the time it gets to me, by the time I get home, it might even be there already. That's just what I do. Let's see. What's the most backlash you ever got for a review? Got a lot of backlash for Tiny Epic Defenders because the defenders of that game, no pun intended, were very, very vocal. Hawaii and Vasco da Gama, obviously. I don't know. It's not too bad. I mean, I get really people mad. I've got some very long, mad emails before, but nothing that was just awful. Let's see here. Have you tried Prophecy? I have not. Would you object to a listener ripping the audio from your videos and posting them on a site similar to Dice Tower Audio, since you've said the site limits the number of posts you can make a month? Yeah, I would object to that, actually. I would prefer that person come to me and talk to me, and I would probably say no. I mean, if they're doing it for themselves, it's fine. But if you're putting up your own site with our stuff on it, I don't know that I would really approve of that, especially if you didn't come and ask me about it first. But I would probably say no, because I like our content being on the Dice Tower. The fact of the matter is this. To have a podcast requires money. It does. There's a certain amount of money you have to put in to host podcasts a month, and for that you need bandwidth space. Now, I can justify bigger bandwidth space based on the number of downloads, and the simple fact of the matter is that the Dice Tower audio versions of the videos that we do bring in a couple hundred, maybe 400 or 500 at the most, downloads, which is nothing even close to the tens of thousands of downloads the other podcasts bring in. So I cannot justify spending, for example, $50 a month on that. That's too much money for too few viewers, or listeners in this case. So that's why we haven't done it. Let's see here. Are we going to be reviewing the new Lords of Scotland? I believe Z has that one in his queue. Can you compare Xenoshift to Shadowrun Crossfire? I don't know that they're really that similar. I guess they're similar. They're both cooperative games. They both have cards, but they don't feel very similar. I like Xenoshift better, actually. Is it possible to make a Shut the Door video with you at Gen Con? Yes, it is. Pitch card for Dice Tower Essentials? No. And there's several reasons for that. The biggest reason is Eagle Griffin publishes it. But the second is the publishing of pitch cards is very difficult. They don't publish that many at a time because of how expensive it is to produce the wooden tracks and the wooden pieces for that, which is why it seems like it's always continually out of print, and you'll see it come back in print 1 or 2 times over the course of the year. Is Spit It Out one of those games like Telestrations or other party games where the scoring doesn't really matter? I'm going to say no to that one, because I think the scoring does matter because you're trying to do well. I mean, it's not like it's life or death scoring, but it's kind of similar to Time's Up. I'm going to score the game and see who wins. Have you tried more than 2-player Star Realms? I have. It's okay. I like it, but I like 2-player much better. Let's see here. Do you think it would be wise to use Kickstarter for a board game cafe or just save up your own money? I don't know. Because the problem with Kickstarter is you want to offer some sorts of rewards. Kickstarter works really well on a global scale. Like board game cafes on a local scale. Now, some board game cafes have done this. I would try to look in other ways. But there's a lot of variables in there. Where are you doing this? When are you doing this? Etc. Let's see here. Is Nuns and Runs a turkey for you now since Spectre Ops came out? Well, you did not watch my top 10 list we just recently published. I like Spectre Ops better for sure, but Nuns in a Run has a different feel to it, so I do enjoy both of them. Jonathan wants to know how much it costs to get your miniatures painted for Star Wars Assault. If you're interested in that information, please email me outside of here, and I'll put you in touch with the painter, and you guys can come to some sort of agreement on that. Best dinosaur-themed game. Since we're on a Jurassic World kick here, best dinosaur-themed game. Well, Evo is an excellent game. Dinosaurs could be one of the races in Dominant Species. Those are the two that come to top of my head. I know there's one I'm missing, but I can't remember what it is. How do you decide whether a review is done by you, Z, or now Sam? I just do it. Actually, I mean, they're reviewing their own collections and stuff, and Z gets some things on his own, and I just say, okay, this is a Z game, this Sam, this is your game, and so on. And it works out pretty easily. I give them games that are in their wheelhouse, so you'll see their ratio of positive reviews will be higher because of that. Let's see. What's your opinion about Arena of the Planeswalkers? I look very much to playing the final version of that. Let's see here. Will Sam get his own show like Z? Probably not. Sam is on Z's show, and he'll be doing other things with the Dice Tower. You'll see an increased output of Miami Dice as time goes by. Let's see here. Do you play games differently when you're doing it for a review versus when you're just playing for fun? I don't play any different. I play all games as if they're for fun. I wouldn't play them. I mean, with the occasional exception, like, I'm going to do this because this is never going to show up in a game otherwise, and I'm curious how this mechanism works. I will do that occasionally, but I might have done that without the review anyway because I'm still interested in how it works. Why the decision to run Dice Tower Essentials through Arcane Wonders exclusively? Will that hurt your ability to get some games you want since you are working with one publisher exclusively? Well, when I decided to do Dice Tower Essentials, it never occurred to me that it was going to be something that a lot of publishers would want. I have since found out differently. However, we made the deal with Arcane Wonders, and the first game, Sheriff of Nottingham, is exceptionally good, and I'm very happy with that. It's not like I'm trying to get every game in the world to be part of this line. So, and I don't think it's hurt my relationship with other publishers, because I'm still going to promote their games and talk about they're good ones anyway, their games, so I'm not really worried about it. Is it possible to get some of the Dice Tower material in Europe? Serbia, to be exact. I don't actually know what that means. You have to be more Dice Tower material. I mean, are you talking about the promos? If so, then yes. Okay, well, first, cheap-ass games just re-released. Give Me the Brain. Do you think it's worth picking up for cheap, or is it too old and phased out? It's okay. It's like any other take. It's going to work. It was going to be difficult. I didn't think doing it over, he didn't have a computer where he could record and all that jazz. So I was like, what am I going to do for a co-host? I found Eric, and that worked out fine. Sam was extremely busy, wasn't able to do it. Then I moved back to the same area with Sam. And so rather than displace Eric and put Sam back in that spot, because Eric was doing an exceptionally good job, is still continuously doing an exceptional job, that I said, all right, Sam, we'll do something on video instead, and that's where we started with the Miami Dice, and then eventually morphing into the top 10 lists. Is dust an issue for you with your collection? Yeah, there's a lot of dust here. I don't dust enough, but we do dust. So it's something that needs to be done. Since you've been doing this so long and many big changes have happened at Dice Tower and in the gaming world, how do you feel about the current state of the Dice Tower? It seems like it's doing great. It is doing well. I'm pretty happy with it. I constantly keep track of numbers and things like that and watch everything. Some things at the Dice Tower are doing better. We're certainly in a much better situation than we were 6 months ago, than we were a year ago. And a lot of people like to listen and watch us, and that's very nice, and we're very thankful for that. So it's just very, I can't be upset about it. How's that? But I'm never satisfied. Always want to see where else we can go. Are there plans to do video reviews of older games that you only did a written review of in the past? Yes, that will happen. But it's just, you're only ever going to see that at certain times of the year. Like right now, I am flooded with Origins games. Okay, and so I got to review as many of those as I possibly can. Sam and Z helping too. So I want to get a bunch of those popped out. But when we're a little bit, I don't know. maybe. Besides, you'll see Sam and Z probably do some of them as time goes by. On the topic of the dinosaurs, if you played Apex, the deck building game, I have not yet because the rulebook is kind of a bear to get through. So that game keeps falling off the queue because of that one single reason. Let's see here. What was the best food from Gen Con? I don't know. Not there yet. Let's see here. Oh, we meant Origins. The best food from Origins. We went to a steakhouse there, which I did not pay for because I would not. It was extremely expensive, but called Mitchell's. It was an excellent meal. Let's see. What do you think about the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Dice Masters set? Sounds fun to me. Don't you think there should be some limit on the number of sets released? I don't care. They could release 1 million. I don't have to review or play them all. It's kind of like HeroClix is now. There's so much HeroClix stuff out there. I could never catch up with it, even if I wanted to. But if I did decide to play HeroClix, I would just buy some of the ones that I'm interested in. I never understand it. I mean, you honestly don't need to own everything. And that's how it is with many of the different games in that genre. With X-Wing, I may not own all the X-Wing miniatures at a certain point. Certainly I'm not going to own all the Star Wars living card game. I just don't get everything, and I don't think it's necessary. Let's see. With so many games coming out, do you think they can all make money? Of course not. They're not all going to make money. Most of them aren't going to make money. But fortunately, the good companies will stay in business. Do you ever run into a problem getting brickworks out in Le Havre? I seem to need brick and have it buried 2 loads of build. I've never had that problem. Eventually someone will get it out because people want a brick. But there's also usually other ways that you can work around to get bricks. Let's see. Is there a reason why you didn't appear in those Origins videos? I've only seen Z, Jason, and Eric. Were you behind the camera? I actually was neither behind the camera nor in front of the camera, except I was in front of the camera for Stronghold because Bonacord demanded it. I was more of a producer at that session, and I also did the editing. If the camera switching back and forth, and that stuff is mostly my work there. My job at Origins was to make sure that we had the schedule set up, that people knew what they were doing when they came, and then that the people actually came by. So I filled the schedule. I got all the different publishers to come through. That was my job at the convention. And beforehand, I'd taken on a producer kind of role to it. And the main reason I've done it is because Eric and Z are exceptionally good at these things. Secondary reason is you don't need to see me all the time. You already see me so much as it is. And the Dice Tower is more than just Tom Vasel. And it works so well. I thought, if I may be somewhat immodest, I thought our Origins summer previews and our Gamma trade show coverage that we did this year combined were the best that we've ever done in that regard. I was really happy that A, we got them done, and B, that it was put up in a very timely manner. We had everything up a week after Origins. It's all done and up there, so you can see all that stuff now. We could have trickled a couple out for the next 3 months, but I didn't want to be unfair to any of the publishers, and you want to know about this stuff. This gives you 5 weeks or so before Gen Con to look at all these games and see which ones you're interested in. Why do designers publish games from many different publishers? Why not stick with one publisher? I don't know why you would want to stick with one publisher. I mean, you're putting all your eggs in one basket, so to speak. Why not have different publishers working on games? Many publishers only work on so many games at a time. So why not go to different publishers? And different publishers might be better at different things. This publisher might be a better fit for your game. I think it's a good idea to work with several. Do I have a new watch? I do. Are there any new designers or publishers really impressed me at Origins? Yes. You'll find out more about that in the future. Recommendations for first-timers at Gen Con? Just go. Take it all in. Don't be overwhelmed. Take your time. Don't worry about doing everything. Find the layout of the land. And then the second time through, you'll know more exactly what to do. Spyfall seems to be out of stock everywhere already. Well, that's just a game Is it? Let's see if is it in Cool Stuff? Yeah, out of stock. Well, Cryptozoic obviously underestimated the demand for that. Did not watch our own videos. Come on, Cryptozoic. I'm sure they'll make more of them. There are a lot of new games coming out and coming. What is your line of thought for making or not a review about a game? Honestly, at this point, I think, is this something that's going to interest our viewers? And do we want to do a review of the game? We don't do reviews of every game that we get. I would say we do reviews probably 90% of the ones we get, but we don't do every single one. And I know that's not fair, I guess, but we don't have the time to do all of them, so we have to judge when they come in. And yes, we do judge books by their covers, or in this games by their cover. Do you plan on getting the 2 expansions for Battlelore? Already done. Which faction is your favorite in the universe? Don't have one yet. I'm going to wait to see all the factions before I get farther. What are some publishers that have closed, but you wish they were still in business? I don't actually ever wish publishers to close, so I would say most of them I wish were still in business. That being said, I know you're like, oh, I wish they were still around making games. I'm sure there's a few I could think of, possibly. Is Simply Fun still around? Because I miss their games. I like those simple style games that they put out. I missed Euro Games. There was a company actually called Euro Games. I like their stuff. Descartes. Well, me and Meow will be doing some live play over the summer. You'll see that. For sure. Best and favorite DC comic superheroes? Probably my favorite is Batman. No, I'm sorry. Tim Drake. Tim Drake is my favorite from DC, I think. I'll have to go through and look at that later. Let's see here. Wow, there's a lot of... There we go. Sorry, the questions kind of speed by sometimes. I've seen more Dice Tower Excellence Awards in game boxes. Is that something the Dice Tower has to give approval for? Well, if we do a review of your game and it says Dice Tower Seal of Excellence, that means one of us has ranked your game 8 or higher. We really like the game. Seal of approval would be 6 to 8. which seems like a smaller range, but it's actually a larger range. We give out more seals of approval than we do seals of excellence. Seal of Excellence, there's occasional times you'll see it on the game before it comes out because we had a chance to play it, and I will notify the publisher and say, hey, we are going to give this a Seal of Excellence so you can put it on your box just so you know. Did you know that Nick was going to video bomb your and Jason's Q&A this morning? I did not know that. He told it to me. He said, just in case you wanted to re-record it. I said, no, I thought that was funny, so we left it in. The Origin Summer previews were excellent. How long did you prepare for this in advance? Well, maybe about a month. I start planning. I already know how to do it, but there's a lot that goes on involved with that. This year we upped our game a little bit by having yellow tablecloths. There's some planning. Scheduling everything is more work than it sounds. Making sure that people are there and everyone's doing stuff. It was some work, and it was work doing it too. All the guys were really exhausted when we were done. But like I said, I thought it was worth it. Online stores are sold out of Cosmic Encounter for a while now. Are there thoughts on it going out of print? It is not going out of print, at least as far as I know. It is a somewhat of an evergreen title. It will be selling for a while. If Fantasy Flight does give it up for whatever reason, I'm sure someone else will pick up and reprint it. I'm never worried about it going out of print. Do you think that it is harder for a gamer to be accepted as a future spouse of mommy and daddy's little girl than it is for other folk? I don't think so. I don't see why that would even come into play at all. I'm starting to already get into this get off my lawn mode as I look at young people and I'm like, man, they're just so different, with there was this very strong hipster. As a father of a daughter, I would be more worried about her marrying one of these hipsters. But that's silliness anyway, because I think what they're doing seems odd doesn't mean that they're a bad match for my kids. I don't see why people would think the same about gamers. Let's see here. Battlelore 2nd Edition or Battle of Westeros? Easily Battlelore 2nd Edition. I really like it. So what does Reddit Gold actually do? I don't even know what that means. All right. When are you going to convince a designer to make a game around hats? I'm sure there's games about hats. That's a cool theme, I think. I have not tried 13 Days. That's coming from Jolly Roger. Jolly Roger is usually very, very close to the chest with their games. In fact, I still haven't played any of their games. I think that they came out with in 2013 or 14. So, a 2015 game, sure, I'm interested in it, but who knows? Let's see. Is there... When will you stop wearing those hats? It looks outdated already. Well, I never try to be in date. What do I care? I wear stuff that I like. I've always felt that way, and I always will feel that way. And no one's ever going to make me feel bad about that. I was the other day somewhere and someone said, why are you wearing that shirt? It's so ugly. I like it. There's one person whose opinion I will consider changing things for, and that's my wife. If she doesn't like something or dislike something, I'll consider it. But my tie collection, my hats, my shirts, I like them, and that's why I wear them. And so I don't care if they're in style or out of style. It's just not that big of a deal to me. Well, no, it is a big deal to me. I like hats, so I'm going to wear them. If they make a law against wearing hats, I would stop. All right, let's see here. Let's see here. Are we going to review Bring Out Your Dead? Yes. Have you played any of the El Grande expansions? Yes. Are any of them worth getting? No. They're okay, but not that great. Do companies have booths at Dice Tower Convention? Yeah, there's some booths. They're like around the outside of the ballroom. Just some smaller booths. We don't actually have like an exhibition hall, although you will likely see that in future years. What are the best tie-breaking rules you found in games? Well, in the one game, what's the name of that game? I even have it. It's the game about magic books. Anyhow, it says if there's a tie, the designer wins. I think that's hilarious. Let's see here. What setting would you like to see as a third cooperative Forbidden game from Matt Leacock? What do we got? Forbidden Island, Forbidden Desert, Forbidden Tomb. That would be cool. Let's see here. Are you excited by the new War of the Ring expansion? A little bit excited, but I don't play War of the Ring that often. In fact, I'd rather play Battle of the Five Armies right now. I have not been to Kentucky other than to drive through it. Are you calling yourself a board game reviewer or a board game critic? I always say reviewer. Critic sounds too negative. I know it's not, right? But I don't want to be someone who's like, I'm a critic. It just sounds like a bad thing. I don't know. That's what I would say, reviewer. Hi, Tom. I noticed you don't like Matt Gert's Rondo so much, but I really think it's a really elegant mechanism. What do you think about that? Are you going to review Antique 2? I don't dislike the Rondel per se. I really do like the church game, Hamburgum, and that has a rondel in it. And I like Shipyard, which has a lot of rondels in it. I don't like it, but I don't think it's like this innovative, elegant thing either. I think it's just a thing. I can use it, I can not use it. It doesn't matter to me. Will I review Antique 2? Maybe. How did your in-laws react to you going full-time into reviewing board games? Well, I don't think they were kind of like very hesitant on the subject. But they were convinced when one day, they live in China, and one day someone visited their house, saw their family picture, and said, "You guys know Tom Vasel?" That was very impressive to them. So that one thing has helped me out considerably. Also, we've done it now for a couple of years, so maybe that's proving it to them. I don't know. I like the hats, Tom, but you need to match the hat to the shirt a little bit better sometimes. I've often thought about rating your hat choices during board game breakfast. Fair enough. I have gotten better about matching things since I've been married. Before I married, I didn't care if stuff matched. Then when I was dating my wife, I found out that there was certain things that matched. But when it comes to hats, I sometimes try to match stuff, and sometimes I don't care. So go ahead and rate them. Let's see. When I first heard about Forbidden Stars, I thought it was a good sequel to Matt Leacock's series. Oh, I see. Sorry. Forbidden Desert, Forbidden Island, Forbidden Stars. That's funny. That'd be a really weird thing. All right. Okay, now that you've learned Forbidden Stars, and we're moving on to Forbidden Desert, now we're moving to Forbidden Island, Forbidden Desert. Now we're moving to Forbidden Stars. Kids are crying. Let's see. I have not seen the Season 2 expansion for Room 25. Cacao, is it that good? I like Cacao. I don't know if it's that good. Z's going to be doing a review of it. Well, there's a good question. The most laughing moment of Origins 2015. Probably during the live show. We'll be posting that tomorrow. I hope you guys like that. It's not the same as being there, of course, but we'll be posting it in both audio form and in video form, and those will both be going up tomorrow morning, so I hope you guys enjoyed those. Have you played... Oh, Tom, do you think we'll see new expansions for D&D Dice Masters in the future? Definitely. Have you played Seven Wonders Duel? I have, and it's great. I mean, exceedingly great. It is one of my favorite games I played this year, easily. When that comes out, if you like two-player games at all, buy it. Lots of fun. Yes, I have played Dogs of War. Anyhow, what are your thoughts on Elfenland now that it's being reprinted? Elfenland's good. It's one of those games I went back to a few years ago and played, and I was like, okay, it's not as good as I remember it. It's just okay. But maybe they'll fix things and change things in the reprint. Are the games on your shelf in any particular arrangement? Yes. By size. And maybe by color. What movie this year do you think will make the most money worldwide? Probably Star Wars. Does anyone doubt that? Favorite item in a Chinese buffet? Crab rangoon, probably. Although they usually put out a good salmon. I don't know why. There's almost always a good salmon on Chinese buffets. Anyhow, let's see here. What are your thoughts on a new Epic game? It looks interesting. I haven't played it, though, so I know nothing about it. Time travel games. Do you think Time Stories will be a good one? I assume that it will not be a good one. Oh, wait, Time Stories. Hang on. Actually, let me check what Time Stories is, because I get the names of my games mixed up sometimes. Time Stories is the game from Space Cowboys. Okay, scratch that. I played Time Stories. Yes, I think Time Stories does the best job of time travel that I've ever seen in a board game. What's the closest board game to Mad Max? Well, there was one called Thunder Road. A lot of people say that. I have not played Thunder Road, but everyone who has played it has told me that it is quite good. If I had to be stuck on an island with a single sauce forever, what sauce would it be? Ooh, that's a tough call, because ranch is, ranch. I tell you what, though, that pineapple habanero sauce I use on almost anything and don't care. So I'm going to go with that for now. Then, of course, there's some good barbecue. But I don't know. Probably the pineapple habanero. Are you thinking about doing some reviews in different ways in intro, rules, and opinion? Sure. I've thought about that. I'm always trying to do things differently, but the fact of the matter is that the intro, rules, opinion is extremely useful to people. And that's the whole point of our channel, is to help people play board games. Have any reprints ever made you realize you didn't like a game? Yes. Time Stories or Tragedy Looper? I still haven't played Tragedy Looper yet, but I think Tragedy Looper is more about the mechanisms. Time Stories is more about the actual story, so I'm very interested in that. Sam had personal theme music for his review. Will Z pick a theme? He can if he wants to. Do you like the Battletech tabletop game? I do. I think it's aged a bit, but I heard that there's a newer, quicker version of it, so I'm going to have to try that out at some point. Is it just me, or does this year's releases look kind of meh? We determine that in December, not now. And you know what? Even if they do look meh overall, there's still going to be some pretty cool games out there. Which board game convention has the best food or nearby restaurants? As of now, it's Origins. It really is. I can find good food by all of them. I mean, we're going to Dice Tower Con next week. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to find some good food there. Orlando has some great food. Indianapolis has good food for Gen Con. The barbecue in Dallas is amazing. So I look forward to all those. Essen, German restaurants are great, but it's Origins hands down. Do you get good deals during Black Friday for board games? You can. I don't, because I don't get new games much these days. I already have enough games. That's what I have. I am saying that without any duress, right? Yes, too many games. But anyway, yeah, Black Friday is a great time to get games. There's deals all over the internet. How did you meet the Chief? Well, in person, I met him at Origins a few years ago. And he comes to every Board Game Geek Con, and we have a good time hanging out there. I just met him. He just emailed me and wanted to be part of the show. That's how I meet most of my contributors. See, the thing is with this, and I apologize that my nose has this, hang on. There, maybe that will stop me scratching my nose. Most of my contributors email me, and they want to get involved. And I get them involved, and some of them only do 1 or 2 episodes, and that's it. Some will do 5 or 6, and that's it. But some stick with me long term, and the Chief is one of those. Let's see here. My favorite style of barbecue? Cajun, probably. Is vinegar sauce on pulled pork blasphemy to you? No, it's not blasphemy. I like vinegar sauce. All right. Should Spyfall have been released with player cards that list all the locations? Yes. It boggles my mind that both Hobby World and Cryptozoic think that that's not necessary. And I don't understand that, because I have not met one person in the world that I have played this game with or seen playing it who thinks that way. I mean, did they not ask people at all? Every single person I played Spyfall with insists you need a reference card. Every single one. There's no debates about it. Everybody in unison thinks that. Cryptozoic and Hobby World have decided that people do not want that. Whatever. Oh, I don't get it. Let's see here. Are you going to replace Age of Empires 3 with the new version? If the new version's better, sure. I have not played Dead Men's Tell No Tales yet. Let's see here. Any preference for card sleeve companies when you use them? I don't have any preference, although I like Fantasy Flights a lot. I just want my preference is the better quality card sleeves. The penny sleeves no longer interest me. Have you finished The Flash? I have not, because I wanted to watch it with my daughters, and then I realized that Hulu only went back 5 episodes, so I have to wait till it's either on Hulu or Netflix or something. Oh, let's see here. You think Xenoshift will get an expansion? I think so. How's that? Would you consider selling Dice Tower window stickers? Yeah, that's actually going to be in our Kickstarter for 2016. I just haven't. I don't want to add too many things, but you'll see them coming. My favorite Dice Master card, Iceman. Let's see here. Ooh, am I caught up on questions? Now, some of you are saying, you can't be caught up on questions because you did not answer my question. I don't answer all the questions. I apologize. There's some I've answered before. Some I'm not interested in answering. Some I can't answer. And some I won't answer. And so, that's just the way it is. But maybe I'll answer yours. How would your gaming collection change if you only played games of your group and not Melody? A lot of your favorites seem to be 2-player games that you play with her. That's true. But I feel like I have 20 years of this left, right? My son is a little over 1. So he'll be playing games with me when Melody stops, right? Maybe. So I'm not too worried about it. How would they change? I'm sure they'd change a bit, but I'd still try to find someone to play 2-player games with. Do you follow Game of Thrones? Not that. I mean, I keep an eye on what's happening, but I guess I'm kind of glad, because it seemed like Facebook, everyone was very sad yesterday, as if a real person had died. The strangest thing you've eaten and liked? Well, easily dog. In Korea. Do I ever plan to come to New York? Oh, sure, I've been in New York before. I'll come there in the future, I'm sure. Let's see. What is your favorite bad game? Stop asking that, folks. That we'll do that every once in a great while. But the fact is, if I like a game, I think it's good. Right? I might say, well, objectively, this game isn't that great of a game, but I like it. But the fact is, if I like a game, I think it's good. And if there's a fantastically well-designed game out there and I hate it, then I'm going to think it's bad. Even if I'll say it's a well-designed game. Can you narrow down the game's preview to Origins to a couple in particular that really stand out? No. Why do you think there aren't many games from India? That is a good question. Or many Indian designers. Maybe Board Gaming just hasn't hit India yet. Now, when it does, I expect it to hit like with a boom. We'll see tons of games. That'd be really fascinating. I love the globalization of board gaming. All right, 15 minutes left. Thanks for the Game of Thrones spoiler. Oh yeah, I didn't spoil nothing there, and you know it. For me, saying in Game of Thrones, someone died, is like saying there was a Game of Thrones episode. It's the same thing. Besides, any Game of Thrones fan has already watched the episode. That's all there is to it. They just have. Let's see here. What were those tile things in the opening of Board Game Breakfast 80? Oh, that's a game I'm going to be reviewing this week, actually, or next week, one of the 2 weeks, of the Jarl from Catalyst Games. It's their themed version of the Duke. Let's see here. Are inserts necessary for games like Brewcrafters? I don't think inserts are ever necessary, folks. You can just bag everything. Let's see here. Cubes or meeples for Royals? As far as I know, the Royals, which is one of the Dice Tower Essentials games, is going to have little meeples in it. Because I think there's a clause that says, if possible, Dice Tower Essential games don't have cubes. How does gaming influence your family? I'm assuming you mean my wife and kids. Don't they ask you to stop and spend more time with them? Don't they think it's immature? I don't think my kids think it's immature because, well, I'm the adult and they're kids. That'd be kind of weird. Do they ask me to stop and spend more time with them? Well, yes. I don't want to get in any kind of cats in the cradle situation here. But I will say, before I reviewed this, I just went swimming with them for a couple hours. So that was fun. For my brothers and sisters and my parents, they never said they thought it was immature. So I think we're okay. Let's see here. Did you start your gaming group or did you join it? The one that's here, I joined. Although I will say that almost everybody in the gaming group currently was not there when I started. It had people came, some people left. There are some people who've been there longer than me, but not many of them at this point. That had nothing to do with that. I'm just saying there's this kind of a ball rolling, people leave, people come type thing. How about Cyclades and Kemet with the crossover creatures? Is it fun? Yes. Yes. Would you consider placing a general search function on Dice Tower website? Okay, I'm going to go look at Dice Tower website right now, but I was under the impression that there was a general search thing there. Let's look. At the top there it says search games. And then I'll put here Vasel and then click on full site search. And lo and behold, it shows up stuff. So yes, it's already there. Done. Gotcha. What is the next top 10 list coming? The next top 10 we're recording next week live at Dice Tower Convention, and it's going to be the top 10 characteristics of gamers that annoy us the most. We were going to say the top 10 gamers that annoyed us the most, but then we realized that was too specific. Actually, we weren't ever going to do that. Okay, that's good enough to read. Bad dad joke of the day. Why can't George R. Martin get a Twitter account? Because he's already killed 140 characters. I like that. And this is the week we can do those, right? Because Father's Day is coming up next Sunday, so we can do bad jokes all week and no one can say anything. What movie do you like better, Man of Steel or Batman Begins? Oh, Batman Begins. But I like all the Marvel Heroes movies, all of them, better than either of those movies. Let's see here. Some friends suggested having a board game picnic outside, but I'm concerned about wind blowing cards away. Any suggestion for games to play or ways to keep them on the table and not in the air? This is the reason I don't play many games outside, because of the wind. You have to think, what games can we play? It has to be a game with tiles or things, like, for example, the Jarl, the game I was just talking about. The game is essentially just made up of these thick tiles here. Okay, these are backlight plastic style tiles. They're made of the same material that dice are made of. And these aren't going to float away on this. So this would be something I would easily bring outside and not worry about the wind at all. You would be surprised, though, how many games are not like this. Most games involve cards in some fashion or form. Let's see here. What would it take for Japanese gaming to break through to the American European markets? Isn't that already happening? We already saw several publishers go to the Japanese Game Expo. I think you'll see even more go next year. It's going to happen. I was thinking of buying TI3, but I fear a 4th edition might be coming out soon. Do you think I should still go out and buy it? Well, I don't think a 4th edition is going to make the 3rd edition less fun. If a 4th edition comes out, this is the year it's going to happen because it's the 10th anniversary. It just seems like that would be when they would do it, 10 years after the 3rd one. But I think at the same time, it might not, right? They might be completely satisfied with where TI3 is at this point in time. If you're worried, wait till after Gen Con. Because if after Gen Con they haven't either A, shown it off, or B, announced it, then it's going to not be for another year. So you have at least a year of fun. What games should Toys R Us sell? Good games. Let's see here. Are you going to Essen this year? Yes, we are going to Essen. We already have the tickets bought and planning to go to that. We'll have a booth there. Not sure exactly where the booth will be yet, but we will let you know as soon as we can. What do you think about very generic game names like The Game or Epic? Yeah, I don't like those at all. Generic names are kind of boring. Bleh. At the same time, I don't know if I want Epic Spellmasters of Mount Skullfire. I don't know if you need dumb, really long names. But I'm looking for a name that just, gets the point across. We did a podcast episode about best and worst board game names. What would it take for a game publisher to get their games sold at Toys R Us? There's a lot of things involved in that. Working with distributors, you got to work with them a lot. Essentially, you have to have a lot of the game. You have to make a lot of it for that to happen. Let's see. Can you suggest... Oh, let's see. No. Do you think Carnival Zombie will ever become available widely? I don't think so. Sorry. It's a kind of very niche style game. Fun, but niche. Let's see here. Your Spiel des Jahres prediction from your mind and your heart? It's the same, honestly. From my mind and from my heart, I think it's going to be Machikoro. I have a hard time imagining one of the other two games winning in that regard. It could be. Is Medina in your collection? It is not, but that is not because I do not like it. There just was not room for it. But Medina is a fascinating, wonderful game. What's my favorite level 7 game? Well, then I know you haven't watched my reviews of the 3 because you would know for sure it was level 7 Omega Protocol. I've done reviews of all 3 level 7 games. Greetings from Norway. We love Arcadia Quest. Would you say the expansion is essential? The expansion is not essential. Don't worry about it. It's fun and cool, but you don't need it. Should Risk Legacy be played with the same group through its entirety? I'm sure that would be a marvelous, fun thing. For me, that did not happen, and I don't think it's that big of a deal. Let's see here. Oh, what about Kennerspiel? For Kennerspiel, that one I don't know. My heart would say Orleans. Actually, though, I don't know. I personally like Orleans better than Elysium, but Elysium's kind of cool and groundbreaking, and I'd rather that one win, I think. And I think Elysium's going to win that one. We'll see. Did you see and will you be reviewing the new Rio Grande game, 20th Century Limited? I've seen it. I don't know if I'll be reviewing it. I don't currently have it. It's possible. We'll see. Let's see here. How can Indian game designers find publishers? Will they accept from India? Well, they might. But see, here's the thing. Right now, game publishers are not hurting for game designs. They're not sitting around going, man, I wish I had some good game designs. There's game designers everywhere. Game designers are growing out of bushes. That just makes people mad every time I talk about this because they say, game designers should get more money from the games. And that's craziness. Publishers are already pretty nice to game designers as it is. You say, but if there was no game designs, there would be no publisher. Well, that's true, but the fact of the matter is that there are more game designers than there are publishers. The publisher has to put the money up to produce the game for it to come out. So the designer doesn't have to do any of that. The designer has to just design the game. But the publisher has to decide whether that game is actually going to make money on the market. And then they have to put up their money for it to make money. So taking them from overseas like India is certainly possible. But if you really want to get it, someone has to get the ball going. So you either need to get over to some conventions to get people going, ooh, India is a country that we should be taking note of. And for that, I think some designers are going to have to go to things like Essen or Gen Con, things like that. Let's see here. A few more minutes. Is there a better way for companies to judge first prints? I missed out on Spyfall and Welcome to the Dungeon Online. I wouldn't worry about it. Once again, if the game is that popular, you will be able to get it later. You will. It's not that big of a deal. And let's say you can't for whatever reason. Then you'll still be able to play something else. How is the Z promo pack for Kickstarter coming along? I will know more information about that today. Sorry, I got a message here. Let's see. Which questions are the most annoying for you? That's kind of meta. Anyway, so I should know more about the promo pack Z as soon as we're just waiting on one thing. As soon as I know about that, boom, it's going out. Will we ever do blockbuster movie reviews? Probably not. There's so many movie reviewers out there already. What are your plans for Sam on the channel? Well, for that, I'm going to say wait and see. Do you get annoyed at Comic Sans or other familiar fonts and in board games? I do not. And honestly, I understand that Comic Sans is not the best font for many things that it's been used for in life. But the hatred towards it is ridiculous. It's a font. It is a font, and it's one of those things nowadays that's cool to hate. Oh yeah, Comic Sans, blah, blah, blah. There's like 10,000 million fonts out there. You can easily pick one of those other fonts. There's no reason to be hating on any one specific font. Nonsense. All right, well, we are down to 2 last questions. Let's see here. Are the Dead of Winter promos in the Promo Pack Z the winners of the contest from last year? That is correct. And there's a couple others that I designed in there too. How close are you to announcing another Dice Tower Essentials game? Close. Let's see here. Oh, I said only 2 more questions, but we'll do some more. Is the Q&A Friday going to be longer since there will be 3 of you? Probably not. So hopefully the questions will be great questions. We'll have to wait and see. But anyway, yes. So if you're watching right now, Sam and Z will be joining me on Friday at 10 o'clock to be doing a live Q&A there. And then we'll be moving on from there. That weekend, we're going to be packing up and getting ready to go to Dice Tower Con. And so you'll be seeing some stuff from Dice Tower Con come up in a few weeks. We'll be doing a designer panel there, some live shows there. And the Dice Tower Awards are going to be announced a week from Friday. So I'm very excited about that. I have no idea who won. In fact, this will be the first year I won't know who won until the show itself. Very fun for me. So anyhow, guys, I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you guys taking some time out of your Monday. I hope you guys have a fantastic Monday. And so until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast. You've been watching live Q&A with the Dice Tower.